as the country's top infectious disease expert, Dr. Anthony Fauci. It's great to have you back on the program, Dr. Fauci. I feel like one of the things we've learned here, right, is there's no stable equilibrium plateau. It seems like in a year of this pandemic, the thing's either growing or it's shrinking. And so when you see it growing in a place, I start to get worried. How do you interpret the data out of places like Massachusetts and Michigan where we're seeing some growth?
Well, you know, it's predictable, Chris, because remember we had the big peak and then it came down at a really good rate and then it started to plateau, which I said weeks ago is a bad sign. Instead of continuing to go down at a sharp decrement, it's plateaued. Once it does that, there's a high risk that you're going to get another resurgence. We've seen that with previous surges, the other three that we've had in this country. Europe did the same thing. They tend to be 3 or 4 weeks ahead of us in the dynamics of the outbreak. And they went up, came down, plateaued. They pulled back on their mitigation methods. They stopped wearing masks. They opened up the bars. They did the things that we warned shouldn't be done. And now Europe is seeing, in general, a surge of 5 to 10%. I hope that doesn't happen here, but it looks like it's starting to do that. It's risky, which is the reason why we say don't declare victory prematurely. We still have a ways to go. Plateauing at 50,000 cases a day is not a good place to be. And that's where we are. We've got to keep pushing to get it down even further.
I'm curious how you, a year into this, understand the nexus between behavior and policy on that regard, because it does seem to me that a lot of this sort of, we see this kind of thermostatic behavior, right, in the public. So even when policy isn't reducing people's mobility in a state like Arizona during the summer, we start to see people taking matters into their own hands. You know, they stop moving around, they stop congregating, they stop going out, and we see that, you know, break the back of the curve. But it works in the other direction, right? I mean, how much of this is policy and how much is people a year out of this, whenever they feel like they can come up for air, are like, all right, I'm going out and going to live more of my life?
You know, it's a combination of both. I think there is such a strong feeling, Chris, that's totally understandable when people have been suppressed in what they can do in the normal way of living, that they just feel we've got to cut loose. That's why you need the leadership to keep encouraging them that we're not going to be this way forever. We just have to hang in there a bit longer, because every day that goes by, you get 2 to 3 million people more vaccinated. And as we get out of March into April and May, a lot more people will be vaccinated, which would make it a lot less likely that you'd see a surge. What we don't want to do now is to pull back before we get that rather large proportion of people vaccinated. We have now about 23% of the country has at least one vaccine. About 12 to 13% are fully vaccinated. We got to get that up a bit higher before we start pulling back on some of these public health measures.
Hey, thanks for watching our YouTube channel. You should know that you can follow today's top stories and breaking news and catch up on your favorite MSNBC shows all in one place. Download the NBC News app today.